Hello there, thanks for watching. We are resuming our reading of the September 2023 Motortrend, Gran Turismo, the Unvideo movie game. How can a movie be based on a video game when the game in question doesn't have a story? It's a fair question. Gran Turismo is a racing simulator game. There's no quest for a magical relic or a city to save from aliens, so how can it serve as the basis of a major motion picture? The thing is, the Gran Turismo film isn't a video game movie, but is instead based on a true story. In 2006, former Nissan Europe executive Darren Cox, played by Orlando Bloom in the movie, wondered if a player's skills in Gran Turismo could translate to real life. As Cox was known for, he soon parlayed that theory into a marketing opportunity by creating the GT Academy, a worldwide competition to find the fastest Gran Turismo players. The best would then be pitted against each other in real-life racing challenges as part of a reality show, with the winner getting a contract with a factory-supported Nissan racing team. Sounds like the making of a Hollywood tale, doesn't it? Sony Pictures thought the same thing and used the GT Academy as the foundation for the film. Directed by Neil Blomkamp, Gran Turismo is based on the story of Jan Mardenborough, the 20-year-old Brit who won the GT Academy Europe competition in 2011. For Mardenborough, also a stunt driver for the film, authenticity was key if his story was going to be told on the big screen. I really started to pay attention to it once I was getting scripts in my email, because by that point they'd gotten the green light. I wanted it to be the best, most realistic story possible as a biopic based on my career. For Blomkamp, Gran Turismo is a complete departure from his usual work. We asked how he prepared to shoot a film that focuses primarily on racing and what he did to make sure his action scenes stood apart from what the audiences might have seen in other racing films. Quote, "I think right from the beginning, I knew that I wanted to use first-person drones. I hadn't really seen that in racing films. The big aesthetic choice was to try and keep things as realistic as possible and just keep it biographical," end quote. Keeping things as realistic as possible means shooting cars at speed, which always carries inherent risk for the cast and crew involved. Quote, "The only car we got damaged on set was when Orlando Bloom crashed one of the GTRs," end quote. Hang on, how did that scenario occur when Bloom's character isn't a racer? End quote. Quote, "Well, Orlando really wanted a scene in the film where he was driving, so we contemplated a scene at the end of the film almost as a post-credit scene for fun. In order to do that, the stunt coordinator and head of stunts had to sign off on him. They had to do a test lap with him and an instructor who could evaluate how he was driving. And then he just kind of spun out and crumpled the front quarter panel, suspension, and wheel in the car," end quote. The trailer suggests Mardenborough filmed some ill will from his competitors due to his unconventional path to pro racing. How much of that rings true? And was he ever made to feel like he didn't belong in a paddock? Quote, "There's been moments in my career where things have happened because of a lack of respect due to the way I got into the sport. You know, I paid maybe 400 pounds, approximately $500, to get where I am in terms of investment into motorsports. 350 pounds of that was from my parents who gave me money for my GSCE, General Certificate of Secondary Education, results to buy a wheel and pedals. The other 50 pounds of that was used to buy the materials to build my own simulator rig out of MDF wood and pine wood, which I used to qualify for GT Academy. I mean, you go and ask a father whose son is in motorsports and ask them how much they spent to get where their offspring is, and it's going to be a lot more than 400 pounds, end quote. Building a driving rig out of wood isn't anything new in the sim racing world, but to think he used it to beat 90,000 other competitors and catapult himself into a real racing career is indeed the thing of Hollywood storytelling. Considering Mardenborough won the GT Academy 12 years ago, it seems appropriate to ask if he still has the rig, PlayStation 3 console, and Gran Turismo game disc he used to jumpstart his career. Quote, "I've never had that question before. Yes, I do. I have the PlayStation, I have the disc, I have the wheel. The pedals, no, because they were awful. I have the rig that I built, which I'll give a little bit of a spoiler. That rig is in the film," end quote. As for Blomkamp, he called Gran Turismo an optimistic movie. Quote, "If I've done my job correctly, I think the film will be more emotional than people are expecting. The emotion kind of culminates with the end of his story. If I've done it correctly, then you'll leave the theater being uplifted," end quote. Can cars be designed and made like smartphones? By Frank Marcus. Kevin Zinger reckons cars can be designed and made like smartphones, with brands developing gotta-have-it products with help from artificially intelligent and machine-learned supercomputers, construction farmed out to a deglobalized constellation of contract manufacturers. Additive manufacturing, or 3D printing, is key to his vision and is the mission of his company, Divergent 3D. When I first covered Zinger's idea in 2017, his vehicle architecture involved 3D printed aluminum nodes connecting commodity carbon fiber tubes cut to length. Today the tubes are out and the nodes have evolved into vastly smarter structures like subframes for the Aston Martin DBR22, suspension components, a transmission case, and perhaps soon an engine block. The Singer 21C hypercar we've ridden in is a glamorous proof of concept for a broader vision where low investment, low carbon manufacturing enables affordable transportation. Among the most impressive developments made since 2017 are the computer-aided design algorithms Singer's firm have developed, which leverage bidirectional evolutionary structural optimization, BESO. This iterative design process determines not only the shape of the component to be produced by the 12-laser powdered metal sintering printer, but also the ideal alloy it's made of. Engineers start by defining a part or structure's basic geometric shape, its mounting locations, the loads it's expected to bear under normal conditions, the deformation it must allow in a crash, fatigue requirements, repairability concerns, environmental operating conditions, and finally weight and cost targets. Once all of these conditions are programmed in, Singer's algorithm selects an ideal metal alloy for the part, choosing from among 28 affordable, generally accessible elements. It also defines the ideal shape, placing material only where necessary for structure, fluid flow, or other reasons. Finally, it programs the most laser energy efficient 3D printing layer strategy for the part. Where necessary, the computer can subdivide a structure or part into smaller pieces that fit within the given 3D printer, recommending the best approach for joining individual pieces, either by adhesive bonding or for repairable parts, mechanical fastening. Bonded parts get the tabs and slots or windows necessary for applying and or curing the various adhesives. One of these oven cures in 60 minutes and another Singer patented one cures in 2 seconds using ultraviolet light. The latter is used to tack weld parts headed for the oven. The goal is for every part to emerge from these forming and bonding processes requiring no further heat treatment or corrosion countermeasures, and only minimal machining and post-processing to final assembly. The result is a light, strong part that reduces the total parts count and eliminates sub-assembly processes, like a Tesla Giga casting, but without the giga tooling cost of purchasing a gigantic casting rig and forming complex dies for multiple parts. Vastly less energy is needed to produce each piece, and design changes are as simple as flashing new code. There's also minimum disincentive to produce several parts in the same machine. Singer's proposed assembly line occupies a hexagonal footprint about 75 feet across that can assemble 10,000 rolling chassis or 100,000 subframes per year. This line takes 2 to 3 weeks to set up and commission, making this small footprint manufacturing operation very quick to scale and extremely adaptable. With such an operation, the break-even point for a given product virtually disappears, and the consequences of a failed product design are nearly eliminated. With minimal traditional tooling, the machinery can be programmed quickly to make parts for another car or another industry. Warehousing service parts become unnecessary. Replacements can be printed on demand. I'm most enthralled with Singer's 3D printed engine block. He won't talk specifics, but imagine routing coolant and oil and passages through the block in the best manner without regard for loading in or shaking out sand cores. Oil passages and squirters could be placed almost anywhere. Coolant flow could be directed in ways never before possible, and the engine might not need external fluid plumbing. Heck, maybe the alloy could even be altered locally to suit different parts of the engine. Final machining and assembly would be vastly reduced, reliability improved, and the exterior is bound to look way cooler. When I laminate the pending demise of combustion engines, Singer counters with an impassionate argument in favor of e-fuels produced from recycled CO2, a cause I now have fresh impetus to champion. Future cars. If you're anything like us, from time to time you catch yourself marveling at how quickly time passes, and being car enthusiasts who follow the automotive industry's evolution, time seems to fly even more when models that once seemed far, far away are now common sights on everyday streets. So once again, it's time for our annual look at the latest crop of significant future cars. From new brands to new interpretations of legends, there's more than enough enticing product in the pipe to inspire you to begin setting aside money today. After all, these vehicles will simply be the cars of now before you know it. The 2024 Acura ZDX. What it is. Acura is bringing back the ZDX nameplate, but this time it's a whole different car. The ZDX will be Acura's first dedicated EV, and it will be based on GM's Ultium platform. The ZDX will share design cues with the precision EV concept shown at last year's Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, and will be a 2-row compact SUV to compete against the likes of the Audi Q4 e-tron, the Genesis GV70 EV, the Tesla Model Y, and the Lexus RZ. Acura has already confirmed that the ZDX will get a high-performance Type S variant. Why does it matter? It's yet another fully electric option from an increasing pool for consumers to choose from. That's a good thing. General Motors and Honda signed an agreement where Honda gets to use GM's Ultium platform for 2 of its models, like the Honda Prologue and this ZDX. Last year, both companies expanded their contracts to include joint development of a whole new EV architecture, saving costs for both companies, platform and powertrain. The Ultium architecture, which really describes the battery and motor technology rather than a platform in the traditional sense, has already been deployed in several vehicles, including the GMC Hummer EV, the Cadillac Lyriq, and the Chevy Silverado EV, the Blazer EV, and Equinox EV. The 2024 Acura ZDX will be closely related to the Blazer EV, and depending on the variant, range should fall between 240 and 320 miles. Regular models will surely have standard all-wheel drive, but it's not yet clear if the Type S will be solely or offer rear drive. Estimated price of $57,000, expected to be on sale spring of 2024. The 2028 Alpine Electric SUV. What is it? The American return of French automaker Renault in the guise of its performance division, Alpine, not to be confused with BMW's Alpina, plans call for an SUV and a coupe, both powered by electricity. Why does it matter? Renault is eager to return to the US market, a tough sell as American buyers are still traumatized by Mitterrand era French cars like the Motortrend's 1983 Car of the Year, the Renault Alliance. Renault CEO Luca De Meo thinks Alpine, well known among modern day car fans for its magnificent A110, might be the gateway for a return to affluent markets like ours. Alpine's A290 beta concept previews a small electric hot hatch soon to launch in Europe. De Leo acknowledges it's not the right size for America. Quote, "We are looking at bigger cars because we need them to get access to richer markets," end quote. Bigger in Renault's definition means something similar in size to the Mercedes GLC class and GLE class, but following the same styling theme. Platform and powertrain. Alpine's expats headed stateside will likely use an extended version of the CMF-EV platform, developed with Nissan and Mitsubishi, and underpinning both the Nissan Ariya SUV and the Alpine A290 Beta concept. The A290 Beta uses a front motor, but CMF-EV can support rear and all-wheel drive as well. The estimated price. We imagine Alpine would price its new SUV in the same ballpark as other European high-performance models, in the $75,000 to $95,000 range. Expected on-sale date. These new electric Alpines won't arrive on our shores before 27 or 28. The 2024 Aston Martin Valhalla. What it is. Developed off the back of the extreme Adrian Newey designed Valkyrie hypercar, the Valhalla is Aston Martin's second mid-engine production car and its second hybrid. The Valkyrie costs $3 million and only 275 will be built, yet the Valhalla will be part of the lineup for some years to come. Aston Martin chairman Lawrence Stroll says. The Valhalla will still be expensive and exclusive, however. It will carry a high six-figure price tag and only 999 will be produced. Why does it matter? The Valhalla was originally intended to be the link between the Valkyrie and a higher volume mid-engine Aston Martin sports car, the Vanquish, which was intended to compete with cars like Ferrari's 296 GTB and the McLaren 750S. But the mid-engine Vanquish program has been axed, and the name will now be used on a successor to the front-engine V12-powered DBS. As a result, the Valhalla will now be based to highlight Aston Martin's Formula One effort. It will also form the basis of several hand-built special-bodied cars Aston plans to release each year. It will ultimately come in many variants, not just the one we've introduced, Stroll says. Platform and powertrain. The Valhalla shares elements of the Valkyrie's carbon fiber chassis, but not its streaking V12. Instead, the Valhalla will have a 1,012 horsepower hybrid powertrain based around a mid-mounted flat plane crank version of the Mercedes-AMG 4-liter twin-turbo V8. Most of the output will be funneled to the rear wheels via an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, though Aston engineers are also looking at twin front electric motors to help with performance and handling. Target curb weight is 3,640 pounds, and the car is expected to produce as much as 1,400 pounds of downforce at 150 miles an hour. Estimated price of $800,000, expected on sale in 2024. The 2026 BMW New Class A 3 Series EV. What it is? BMW has resurrected the term New Class A to refer to its next generation electric vehicles. It previously referred to the cars launched in the 1960s that kicked off the company's rise. In this case, the BMW New Class A 3 Series EV will be an all-electric version of BMW's iconic luxury sports sedan. Why it matters. Like most everyone else, BMW is in the midst of transitioning to an all-electric lineup, and this all-new 3 Series plays a pivotal role, with the model being a staple since its 1975 introduction. We expect the electric 3 Series will take styling inspiration from the BMW iVision DEE concept, a retro futuristic sedan that made use of the automaker's e-ink technology instead of conventional paint. It's unlikely that tech makes production, but one can dream, right? Platform and powertrain. As you might surmise, the 3 Series EV will ride on BMW's new Class A platform, and it will likely revive the i3 Moncur to slot in properly with the i5 and the i7. Battery pack assembly will take place at the automaker's $700 million plant near Woodruff, South Carolina, which will have an annual capacity of 30 gigawatts. Full specifications for the new Class A underpinnings have yet to be announced, but expect BMW to develop a higher capacity battery pack than the 70.3 kilowatt unit from the China-only i3 eDrive 35L sedan. The volume-selling model will likely feature a rear motor, rear-wheel drive setup that meets or beats the current 330i's 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. Inside the cabin, we're expecting BMW to outfit the new Class A 3 Series EV with lots of digital real estate and fewer hard buttons than ever. Estimated base price of $45,000, expected on sale in 2025. Will the new M5 deliver stupid speed and incredible handling? Probably. The outgoing M5 is a riot, particularly in CS form, and the new XM SUV is a sweet driver too, even if its face looks like Rocky's after losing a title fight. The new 5 Series styling still seems conventional by modern BMW standards, so the M5 variant probably won't be full-on repulsive. Huge power and not ugly looks? Bring it on. Why does it matter? BMW's M sedans represent the molten core of the brand, with the Bavarians' intent on improving their statistics and capabilities with each successive generation. The newest BMW 5 Series, on which this M5 will be based, isn't available with the purely gas-fed powertrain. Every version is electrified to some extent, culminating in the all-electric i5 variant, and thus electrification will enable the M5 to stay in step with the march of progress, not just at BMW, but throughout the automotive world at large. The platform and powertrain. The hybrid gear from the XM means the M5 will pack at least 644 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. BMW also spec a Gonzo version with the XM label red 738 horsepower, 738 pound-foot powertrain. That would be more than enough power to offset what likely will be a several hundred pound weight gain over today's M5. The current M5 maxes out at 627 horsepower and hits 0 to 60 in as little as 2.6 seconds in our testing. Even being heavier, the new M5 could improve on that time thanks to the motor's instant torque. Handling could be sharpened via the adoption of rear-wheel steering too. Worried about the baby seals and trees and stuff? Depending on battery size, it could deliver at least 30 miles of electric-only driving range at speeds up to 87 miles an hour. Estimated price of $125,000 on sale summer of 2024. The 2025 Chrysler crossover. What is it? Chrysler's first electric crossover will be based on the Airflow concept we first saw in January 22 and an updated version of the large two-row SUV concept a few months later. The sleek crossover previews the styling and advancement tech we can expect from the future Chryslers. The tech part still rings true, but the look has gone more modern under Chrysler brand CEO Chris Fuel. The production model will not carry the Airflow name when it goes on sale in 2025. Why does it matter? Chrysler will be down to a single model, the Pacifica minivan, for more than a year until the electric SUV joins the lineup in 2025. The first EV will be followed by at least one new model per year through 2028, reviving and redefining the Chrysler Marquis, the platform and powertrain. The Airflow concept was based on the RU minivan platform, but the production crossover will use the Stellantis STLA large architecture, which is designed for battery electric vehicles but can also accommodate hybrids with internal combustion engines. Chrysler will offer it with both 400 and 800 volt systems for fast charging. Standard and long-range versions will feature a range of up to 400 miles, likely with a 108 kilowatt battery pack. Entry trims could have a single motor, with dual motors delivering all-wheel drive. Look for STLA BrainTech to support cloud connectivity and STLA Smart Cockpit to handle the hardware, screens, and computers. STLA AutoDrive will provide level 3 autonomous driving. Estimated price of $55,000 on sale expected in 2025. The 2025 Dodge Stealth. Yep, bringing that name I guess, but just you wait. It's no longer a sports car. What is it? The new Dodge Stealth isn't a resurrection of a sports car from the 1990s, but rather the successor to the Durango in the three-row midsize SUV slot. The demise of the current Durango was telegraphed when its counterpart, the Jeep Grand Cherokee, moved to the new WL platform while the Durango was left to languish on the older WK2. The Stealth will get an all-new modern look to go with its new old name. Why does it matter? SUVs are still the vehicle of choice for most buyers, and Dodge was down to just one with the demise of the mediocre Journey. The aging Durango, which was introduced for the 2011 model year, its replacement comes as Dodge actively ups its SUV game, including adding the sporty new Hornet compact SUV. The Durango name may yet live on, as it could be reinvented as a larger body and frame SUV that shares the Jeep Wagoneer platform. That leaves room below the Stealth. It also shows the brand is more than muscle cars, even as the Stealth badge brings to mind the prior Mitsubishi-built coupe. The platform and powertrain. The Stealth will likely join the Grand Cherokee L on the new WL platform, or it could glam onto the new STLA large platform. Either way, expect some degree of electrification. The new Hurricane 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6 engine will make up for the loss of an available Hemi V8 and bring things full circle. The original Stealth RT packed a 3-liter twin-turbo 6-cylinder. Estimated price of $40,000, expected on sale in late 2024. And it's 2025 now, and it has not come out yet. This one too did not age well. The 2025 Fisker Pear. What is it? Design veteran Henrik Fisker's inexpensive cross-track sized electric SUV. Why does it matter? If Fisker is going to establish itself as a proper automaker worthy of your attention, it'll be with the Pear, which is said to stand for Personal Electric Automotive Revolution. The small electric SUV's pricing means it'll be the entry point to Fisker's lineup, and for many buyers, their first EV. Remember, Tesla impressed us with the Model S, but the company didn't reach its full sales strength until it offered the 3. Platform and powertrain. Fisker's CEO confirmed the Pear will be built on a dedicated steel chassis rather than the Ocean's platform. Magna Steyr builds the Ocean in Austria, while Foxconn will assemble the Pear at its Lordstown, Ohio plant. Fisker plans to offer 2 powertrain options, either a single-motor rear-drive setup with 100 to 150 miles of range, or a dual-motor all-wheel drive option good for at least 300 miles. The CEO reports the Pear will have a bare-bones interior with almost 0 moving parts, no physical buttons or switches. So if you think a Tesla cabin is too minimalist and touchscreen heavy, the entry-level Fisker might be too stripped down for your liking. The vehicle's pre-order website lists clever storage solutions, and the company told us the Pear's interior will offer more space than comparably sized alternatives. There's also something called a Houdini trunk, some sort of trick rear tailgate mechanism. Estimated price was $30,000 and is expected to be on sale in 2025, which again did not age well. The 2025 Ford Bronco plug-in hybrid. What is it? After Jeep's success with its Wrangler 4xe plug-in hybrid, it's no surprise Ford is ready to jump on in the PHEV wagon with the company's increasingly popular Bronco. Given Ford's average 4-year cadence for refreshing vehicles, we could see the 6th generation Bronco get a facelift and enhanced drivetrain options as soon as 2024. Why does this matter? Ford has made a big commitment towards electrifying its truck and SUV lineup, and offering a plug-in hybrid option on one of its most popular vehicles is a large step in this direction. One of our chief complaints with the Ford's Bronco revival has been the vehicle's abysmal fuel economy. Adding a plug-in hybrid option would surely prove to be a compelling alternative to today's roster of EcoBoost engines. The platform and powertrain. Ford's full-size Bronco is built on a modified version of the company's T6 platform and was designed from the beginning with hybridization in mind. During the engineering phase, the SUV's front axle mounting location was moved forward about 2 inches versus its Ranger platform mate, in part to allow space for hybrid hardware. We expect the Bronco PHEV to be powered by the company's 2.3-liter EcoBoost inline-4 and backed by a 10-speed modular hybrid transmission. Battery size will likely come in at about 18 kilowatts, which could give the Bronco an all-electric driving range of about 30 miles, depending on the trim, the tires, and other details. We expect the PHEV to launch on the high-volume models, meaning there won't be a pluggable Raptor, and in 4-door configuration only. We also anticipate pricing to fall just below the maximum threshold for the federal tax credit for clean vehicles, allowing the PHEV to qualify for the full $7,500 rebate. Estimated price starts at $55,000 to $75,000, on sale expected late 2024. The 2025 Ford Project T3. What is it? Ford is gearing up to bring a 2nd-gen F-150 Lightning to market while also expanding its electric pickup line. I don't think this is aged well either. The company's Project T3, which stands for Trust the Truck, is a rallying cry for the development teams working on Ford's future electrified pickups. Ford executives have confirmed multiple vehicles are part of this project to expand on the F-Series family, and they're not on the heavy-duty ilk. We expect that along with the 2nd-gen F-150, Ford is also preparing to produce a smaller, Ranger-sized electric pickup as part of the T3. Why does this matter? There's no denying the 1st-gen F-150 Lightning was always meant as a stopgap, which enabled Ford to jump into the battery electric pickup market quickly but with compromises. The company's next-gen electric pickups are expected to bring its hardest working and most versatile vehicles into the modern era. Ford also confirmed production of these vehicles will begin when the new Blue Oval City facility comes online in 2025. which will be able to produce as many as 500,000 electric pickups per year. Platform and powertrain. Ford has been mum on specifics surrounding Project T3 development. However, it has said these upcoming vehicles will be anchored by a digital platform that gets better as time goes on. The trucks will be sleek and aerodynamic, impressively quick and fast to charge. They'll also have great range and serve as a mobile power station that thrives off the grid. The trucks will be constructed with a degree of modularity, the likely enabler of expanding the Lightning family to a smaller pickup. We aren't ready to rule out the possibility of a more performance-oriented pickups either. An F-150 Lightning Raptor has been rumored, and a track-oriented truck would easily fit into that lineup. At any rate, these would likely arrive after the smaller models. Estimated price of $50,000 to $100,000, expected on sale in late 2025. The 2026 Ford 3-row electric SUV. What is it? Ford CEO Jim Farley seems to think the future comes with 3 rows of seating, as the executive has been recently quoted saying the 2-row SUV market is oversaturated. With the all-electric Mach-E satisfying 2-row demand going forward, the US automaker plans to introduce an all-new all-electric 3-row SUV soon. Why does it matter? Why is Ford so focused on a 3-row EV for the near future? Well, it makes a more compelling, more marketable package in the mold of Kia's EV9 and the packaging efficiency of all electric vehicle platforms. With the battery laid flat and motors located on the axles, means interior space and layout can improve. In theory, you could have the same exterior dimensions as a conventional vehicle with more interior room, hence more electric models potentially being offered with the 3rd row. Ford only sells the gas-powered Ford Explorer and Expedition SUVs with 3 rows of seating in the US. The Explorer can fit 7 occupants. The Expedition offers seating for up to 8 with a reclining final row of seats. Ford doesn't offer an EV on the same functionality. Platform and powertrain. Executives have likened the upcoming 3-row EV SUV to a personal bullet train that'll be slightly smaller than the Expedition. It will target 350 miles of range from a relatively compact battery likely rated around 100 kilowatts. A lower ride height and lower rolling resistant tires will help maintain efficiency. It's not clear yet how, or if at all, the Ford VW tie-up, which resulted in a different electric-only Explorer for Europe, will influence this vehicle. We anticipate the electric SUV will be available with all-wheel drive, which means mounting at least 1 motor per axle. It's also plausible the new SUV shares components with Ford's upcoming 2nd-gen all-electric pickup, namely the battery and motor units. This could mean the SUV is also rated for moderate towing capability, though we don't expect it to match the gas-burning body-on-frame Expedition's traditionally high towing capability. The estimated price of $60,000, on sale 2025. The 2026 Genesis GV90. What it is? It's a full-size 3-row electric SUV from Genesis that will serve as the brand's flagship. Why it matters? Genesis has stunned the automotive world with its rapid climb into the rarefied air occupied by Mercedes-Benz and Range Rover. The G90 sedan is a true S-Class competitor, yet the Korean company doesn't yet offer that level of dazzle in an SUV. We expect the GV90 to put that right, delivering the same stratospheric luxury that launched the G90 to its 2023 Motortrend Car of the Year win, and do so with an all-electric powertrain. Platform and powertrain. We originally predicted the GV90 would use the same eGMP platform that underpins other Hyundai Motor Group's EVs, including the Genesis GV60 and Kia's EV9, but we've heard rumblings that the GV90 could be underpinned by HMG's new EM platform with improved range and level 3 autonomy. That would make sense, as the largest battery the Kia EV9 offers is the 99.8 kilowatt unit. Even with the 429 horsepower dual motor setup from the smaller electrified GV70, and we expect the GV90's output to be closer to 500 horses, that battery could likely only deliver around 250 miles of range, nowhere near the 305 miles that the Mercedes-Benz EQS, let alone the 348-mile range of Tesla's Model X. The new EM platform might well be necessary to give the GV90 the range consumers expect of a flagship vehicle. Estimated price of $100,000 and expected on sale date is late 2025. The 2026 Genesis X convertible. What is it? A Grandeur 2+2 luxury drop top with an all-electric powertrain, the production fruition of the stunning Genesis X convertible concept. Why it matters? Genesis rise has been no easy feat. Years spent tactically developing models that usurp luxury mainstays has elevated Genesis' status as a serious contender. country of origin, corporate affiliations, and price point be damned. This work has been duly rewarded with multiple Motortrend of the Year wins and impressive market success. Genesis deserves to celebrate itself, and it'll do just that when the X convertible goes into production. Less of a sensible business decision and more of a whimsical indulgence, the Genesis X convertible will run in a rarefied strata of high-end drop tops like the BMW 8 Series, the Mercedes-AMG SL Class, and the Bentley Continental GT. These vehicles carry legacy and cachet that newcomer Genesis could only dream of, and that's the point. With the jaw-dropping, high-performance electric X convertible, Genesis aims to affirm itself in the upper echelons of luxury, just as those rival Grand Tours do for their creators. The X likely won't sell in high volumes, but its halo effect will boost the momentum Genesis has built around its crossover and sedans as they become increasingly electrified. Platform and powertrain. With eGMP, Genesis has a versatile platform with which to create a diverse lineup of EVs. Its GV60 crossover was first to arrive. Despite eGMP's impressive refinement and battery capabilities, it may not suffice to underpin Genesis' ultimate expression. Instead, the X convertible, like the GV90 SUV, could ride on the upcoming EM platform, which aims to improve efficiency and autonomous capabilities. For such a niche model, it's also possible Genesis would develop a bespoke platform. Estimated price of $200,000, on sale 2026.